And welcome back. We have John Pointer on with us today. He is the chair of the Joint Rules Committee of the California Senior Legislature. It is a pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
And we were having a brief discussion right before we came back. I was asking about, is this an official government agency or what type of group, a lobbying group, whatever it might be. And why don't you kind of briefly explain to the folks watching what you explained to me?
Sure. Let me start with that the California Senior Legislature is a strictly volunteer organization made up of seniors like myself. It is a state agency, but it is not funded out of the general fund. Mm-hmm. It was founded in 1980 by Senator Henry Mello.
Is that the infamous Mello of Mello-Roos? Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Infamous for those who pay Mello-Roos.
Yes. The mission of that organization is to preserve and enhance the quality of life of seniors and their families in the state of California.
All right. So that kind of in a brief description tells us what it's about. And you sent along some different notes to me, and going over all these different things that you folks are going to be proposing this year. And is this what you do? You meet with assembly persons and state senators and things like that, and other groups about the need of seniors and trying to get bills onto the docket.
Correct. What we do is we provide a forum for seniors to identify legislative priorities and get them in the hands of their either state or federal legislator. We do that by gathering ideas. We then take those ideas and put them into written proposals. Those proposals are prioritized and then presented to the legislators. And then we advocate for legislation supporting those ideas. And then what you have in front of you is a list of legislative priorities for 2016. I could go through those with you if you'd like. And
let's go through some of these. And there's many you folks have done as well. And a couple of these just from the very start, labeling of prescription drugs.
Yes.
And explain that a little more. You want something a little more clear, or?
This proposal would require doctors to include the purpose for which a medication is prescribed for all medications rather than just listing the medication.
Idea. That's a good idea for anyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it would be included on the label unless the patient or the doctor requests the information be omitted.
That's a really good idea. I like that.
Another one we have is AP 13. That's again a proposal for 2016, long-term care, personal needs allowance. If you can believe it, there was a $35 allowance and is for personal needs per month. And what we are proposing is that be raised to $80 a month, and the allowance would be based on the same percentage as the Consumer Price Index, CPI.
So personal needs.
Toothbrush, haircut, soap,
just your basic, not food and things, but basic, hygiene products.
Exactly.
And these kind of things.
Exactly. And $35 as it currently is not very much.
No, it's not.
So once you get a haircut, especially for women, you're pretty much, $35 is gone.
Yeah. And one of the other ones, AP-4, is about elder financial abuse. This has to do with reporting.
Yes.
Financial institutions.
Yes. Again, reporting of financial abuse to a minimum of $25,000 for each unreported transaction, and requires the financial institutions to implement training of reporting requirements and authorize a person that has reported suspected abuse to a financial institution. If I could also just state that at this time, I'd like to remind everyone that we have submitted over our 35-year history. We just celebrated our 35th year as an organization supporting seniors. Over 200 of our proposals during the course of that 35 years have been signed into law.
Great.
It's quite a record.
Yeah.
Quite a record.
Yeah, some of these I'm looking in the past, going back to 1998. elder abuse was
Yes.
probably one of the first
Yes.
bills that was
We're-
brought in.
We're
yeah.
also advocating in this current year elder-friendly courts, so that you, again, have someone sensitive to the elderly. And I think you get a more sensitive court in regards to elder abuse victims, and you also have easier access to the county system in the
Okay.
state.
And a couple others that you are proposing is dementia training for health workers?
Yes. This proposal would require paramedics, emergency medical technicians, and hospital staff to receive, as part of their continuing education, dementia training.
Okay.
Again, many technicians, even police officers, aren't necessarily attuned to what the dementia characteristics are and how to be sensitive to that in treating them.
Okay. And then finally, at least so far, what you guys have on this year would be a Senate bill, veterans housing, affordable rental housing.
This proposal would establish a rental housing assistance program as part of FHHPA and require the Department of Veterans Affairs to coordinate access to affordable rental housing for veterans with existing state and federal veteran services. So again, something that I think is definitely needed in the state and would assist our seniors, who in many cases are also veterans.
Let's talk how people can get involved with this
You bet.
organization and where they would find you and how they can help if they want to.
Well, the website is the number 4,
Okay.
csla.org.
Okay.
You can get involved much like I did. The requirement is to simply be a senior over the age of 55. And then you would submit your application to become a member, and it would go through a review process, and then ultimately you would be nominated by your local Office on Aging organization, and then that would be submitted to us for approval, and then you
Okay.
would join the organization.
All right. Very
There are
good.
120 members of the California Senior Legislature, mirroring the legislature as it is now, 40 senators and 80 assembly members.
Okay. So are these folks that are involved with this now have districts, so to
Yes.
speak? Okay.
They are in the very same district configuration as their representatives.
Okay.
So we try to establish a personal contact with each of our state legislators to ensure that there is a one-to-one relationship and they understand what our needs are, and we're communicating with them personally when we have legislation we want them to support.
Okay. And what about people who may not necessarily want to become a member of a district, but want to help out in different ways?
Right. The best way is to participate in the voluntary contribution program through the Form 540.
Okay.
I'll walk you through how that is done.
Sure.
Again, the California Senior Legislature is a state agency, but we are not funded from the general fund. We are funded solely from donations annually on the Form 540.
Okay.
The voluntary contributions section is on the 540, and that's where you find a list of organizations like ourselves that you can select and make a donation to. Typically, there are donation averages about $10, but you can make a donation in any amount. I'm going to walk you through how to do that on the 540.
Okay, and this is, just to interrupt you for a moment, this is what we see at the end of the, quite often the end of your filing, your tax filing,
Yes.
whether you have all these different organizations.
Yes. So on the 540, if you file your own return or prepare your own return, or you use a tax preparer, on page 3 of the 540 EZ,
Right.
or page 4 of the 540, you will find a list of
Right.
organizations, and they're called organizations part of the voluntary contribution section of the
Okay.
form. The California Senior Legislature Fund, Code 427, is on line 17 of that
Okay.
list of organizations, and then you just go in there and make your donation in any amount you would like. Now, if you use tax preparation software, you then would, when you're doing the state portion of the form, you will be prompted by a script. It talks to the Special California Fund.
Okay.
In that, it asks you, would you like to make a contribution to the California special fund. You would answer yes. Then the list of organizations would come up.
Got it.
And you would
Okay.
find California Senior Legislature Fund.
Okay.
Code 427.
I have a question for you, very kind of a hot topic that has come up. It's been talked about for a while. What are your folks' stance on the right to die legislation? And I think that's, is it SB 128?
Correct.
Yeah.
And that bill was originated as a proposal by the California Senior Legislature.
Okay, so
Okay,
that tells us.
We then got the support of state and legislators in terms of that, and as you know,
Okay.
that was ultimately passed and signed by the governor
Okay.
of California.
All right, very good. So again, if you forget the website, if you just go ahead and Google California Senior Legislature, that's going to take you to where you need to go. And when you do your taxes this year, look for that line on there. I think many people are familiar with all those different volunteer organizations that people can go ahead and donate.
Correct.
And I think you just put in whatever you amount, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
But that's a great way.
Right.
Very
Right.
good.
Thank you. And if I could just remind everybody
Sure.
again, to remember that this organization has been supporting seniors for over 35 years. Your support through a donation will continue this organization's support of seniors. And the line we like to use is, remember, find the line, California Senior Legislature Fund, code 427 on the form 540, and make your donation.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I
Pleasure to meet
appreciate-
you, sir.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
We'll be right back.